final round, we're going to have Netherlands against Qatar, but most intriguingly of all, surely, Ecuador against Senegal, Didi.
It'll be a feisty game, two physical teams. Ecuador was brilliant today, well impressed with them. I don't think the keeper, Galindez, had a save to make all game. Scored after 5 minutes, Netherlands. It was all one-way traffic, and they didn't just put the ball forward, they tried to play it from the back, make great decisions, and they just bullied the Netherlands. They couldn't live with them. Their physicality was just too much for them. And I said at half-time, one of the best performances, and I'll probably go a step further. Obviously, we saw some of the fancy teams like Spain and Brazil do well. Spain against less opposition, but against a strong opposition, that was as good a performance as I've seen this tournament. And if they were to go through against Senegal, which I think they will, that's certainly a team I wouldn't like to play in the knockout stages.
Bullied. Keeper didn't have a single save to make. As good as Ecuador were, they're not reflective of high hopes for what the Dutch might do in this competition.
No, they relied heavily upon their defensive unit, keeping them out solid at the back. The three centre-backs for the Netherlands were very good. They had a lot of work to do, and it was really physical. You know, they're going to go, we're saying they're going to come home, they're going to feel they were in a match today. But from Ecuador's point of view, they were excellent all over the pitch, in the middle of the park, dominated. De Jong, again, just flat to deceive, didn't really get his passes going, and then puts himself in situations where he can get the ball taken off him and cause them problems. And you just feel that, you know, yeah, back four, back five for Netherlands, decent, but as soon as you go up the pitch, they just don't seem to have enough.
For all the strong words in relation to how good Ecuador were, A, they drew, but B, they need Enner Valencia, it looks like, to be on the end of all these great moves that they have, and he obviously again went off with this injury.
Yeah, it's a repeated day one. They're now sweating over the injury of Valencia to see if he's going to be available for the next game. But like day one again, he delivered and scored the goal. That's 5 now in World Cup finals. But they're also going to be missing Mendes. I think he's going to be suspended because of 2 bookings. But the goal when it came was thoroughly deserved, and I agree with the lads. Like the way Ecuador played, not just the physicality, but like we spoke before, why did they go 5 at the back? Sometimes in some teams that's a defensive move. There was nothing. The wing-backs, Estupiñán particularly, got forward so often. They were great to watch, right up until the end. They were the team most likely to do it. But the Dutch were very, very average. Yeah. Decent in back, big names, big club careers. But that team wouldn't frighten many teams at all.
No, it was only a matter of time, wasn't it, when Ecuador would find this equaliser, then if...
It was really, yeah. Well, if they were to get what they were deserved out of the game, it was a question of if. But Caicedo here, this tackle there. Do you remember the mistake he made just a moment before Netherlands scored their goal? He more than made it up for it in that moment. And then Valencia is where you want the striker to be to follow it up here. But you see Caicedo's contribution here. First of all, it's the tackle. Then straight away you see him pointing, sees the opportunity of Estupiñán. Really good shot. No question there of offside at all. We were discussing before the role of the goalkeeper. I think you'd have to credit someone who's 6'8" for getting down that low that quickly. Obviously doesn't palm it out of the way. I think Didi thought maybe if had he used his feet, it would have been better, but that might have been too critical of him. But a really, really well-deserved goal at that point in the game.
You know what was brilliant about that goal? See Esteban's position when they win the ball back. He is so far offside, and he sprints all the way back to get himself in an onside position, and then is getting forward. So just the level of energy that he showed, and he's like probably 10 yards behind the Netherlands defence, and then just sprints back in, gets himself back onside, gets a shot away, and then they score from it. It's amazing.
That is amazing, because normally you're used to seeing players, if they do that, they might do a little jog back, and more often than not they don't succeed.
No, it just shows how willing they are. And watching it, and I said halfway through the second half, I said to Richie, I'd love to manage these guys. You don't need to motivate them.
There's none involved.
No. You put the 11 names on, and they run and they leave everything out there. And you know, you come back, you know, Germany, when I watch them after the game, people said, my teammates didn't want to have the ball. You know, it's a team game, and we go out there, we do it together. And I think, you know, if I could pick one of the teams to play one of the teams in the last 16, it's a no-brainer. Which are the 2 teams I'd like to play? Because I think that Ecuador team, if they come up against the top team, I reckon they can frighten them, because they're that good, they're that physical, and they're not scared. They're not scared of anything.
Just before we move on, we'll go into more in-depth analysis on this. You want a word about the referee. This is Gouba Mustafa.
Yeah, Mustafa Goba, I think he was excellent. He led the game, a play, it was flowing. He only interfered, he only blew the whistle when he had to. I think a little bit fortunate because Mendes is out for the second ball. Caicedo probably should have been booked. So I think if both had been out against Senegal, it would have been a big blow to Ecuador. But this is how games should be. They shouldn't be refereed, they should be handled. And he handled the game and he let the game flow. The players had the respect, and you just wonder, because we've got huge problems in Germany with referees, VAR. You know, he's from Algeria, probably doesn't referee games at the highest level every week. But there was as good a performance of a referee I've seen in a long time, and hats off to him.
Yeah, dental technician, which I believe is a dentist by profession, but he's certainly a top referee so far at this World Cup. Great performance from Ecuador, 1-1 between them and the Netherlands. They did have a fine team performance in their 1-1 draw against the Netherlands. Apart from that goal, they did hit the woodwork as well in the second half. Yeah,
they were well on top, had a couple of good chances, and Van Dijk was at the heart of most things, and he cleared a few crosses. But this is a brilliant take here by Valencia, because the ball comes at him so quick, and then they follow it up here with Plata. Two tremendous strikes. I think the first one's going in, and the second one, the woodwork comes to rescue here. It's not an easy ball because it comes so fast in Valencia, but great technique. And then Noppert wouldn't have been anywhere near this, and comes off the underside of the crossbar. And I don't think the Dutch could have complained if they lost the game today.
No, definitely not. In fact, the only people who may have some grounds for complaint could be Ecuador. Why don't you, for anybody who missed half-time, sum up the argument about a goal they had disallowed for offside, and it coming down to whether or not there was an interference with play?
Yeah, so we'll see the footage in a moment. So the rule here, we assume is being applied, is that the goalkeeper's view was obstructed. And hopefully someone will hit play now in a moment. And the shot comes in, and the goalkeeper, as we'll see in a moment, watch the footage come out. Ball is cleared here. Goalkeeper view is obstructed because Perazzo is in an offside position. But keep an eye on the assistant referee. He doesn't flag. But Perazzo is there right in front of the goalkeeper. The discussion we're having here is, right here, shot comes in, goalkeepers would not have in any way been able to react to the second deflection, and was diving the way he would have done had he been fully sided anyway. So I think the premise behind the rule, which says you can't obstruct the view of the goalkeeper, is that had he had a better view, he'd have been able to do something about it. But here, because the deflection was so late and he was diving correctly, he would have saved it anyway. Have I summed that up? Is that what we were discussing for about 20 minutes?
I think he's lost everybody, right. But you have also summed it up.
No, you have. So basically what the argument we're kind of saying is that you think he's in an offside position and he's unsighting him, but I'm saying that...
He is in an offside position.
He's definitely in an offside position. I'm saying he's not unsighting him, though. Unless he has spidey sense and he can sense the ball, he can see that because he's reacted to the shot. So on a technicality, the goalkeeper is not onside because he's seen it and he's moved to save that shot. That's where I kind of disagree with the decision.
Okay.
Just one final point on the linesman, because Richie said he didn't flag. I think he didn't flag because obviously he doesn't know whether he's a yard next to the keeper or whether he's in the line of vision. Yeah. That's why I think, again, the linesman made the right call to not flag. And if it's deemed offside, then somebody's got to tell him or the referee. That's what they did. But I think they were faultless today, the referees, and I think they made the right call.
Pervis Estupiñán was the man who got on the end of that. You mentioned him a little while ago. He is a man who's playing in the Premier League over in England as well. How impressive was he today? He
was fantastic. His energy levels, but not only that, when he got into these final thirds, his decision making, this is great. He actually sees Valencia, he knocks it back to him for the header. He was full of running, full of determination. This is a wonderful cross into whip around Aki, into a great area, and Van Dijk is there again. And these players on the wings, they put in such good balls that the Dutch had to be really on their toes to deal with them and defend with them properly. But throughout the game, this is a shot he creates for the goal. I said in position sense, when you see this back, he runs from an unbelievable offside position to get back onside, then gets his body turned, drives forward, gets the shot away. It's a great save from the goalkeeper, and then Valencia gets tapped in. But throughout the whole game, he was excellent. And some of the people are going to be looking at now, but he was a driving force in their performance.
OK, so we have 1-1 between Ecuador and the Netherlands, two teams who could feature as the tournament goes on.